Hello everybody, thanks for joining me again in Egypt Old Kingdom. We haven't been in Egypt for a little while, so just to revisit where we were, we're doing the Ascension of the Tribe quest. We need to build a temple, which requires lots of production. We did just recently, at the end of the previous episode, get the confusing concept of multiple souls advance, which gives us the ability to build the temple, but we need the economy to support it. So right now we want to grow both in terms of numbers and in terms of production. We need to improve both our food and production. We're going to pull these people out of here because they were just getting us enough tribes to complete the previous quest, and that is now done. So we are having one worker clearing this swamp so we can get another field going there. And I also want to do a bit more scouting the places that are quick to scout. So let's just advance in that manner. And there's a nice little bit for us. Not enough favor to work on any of that yet, but we can get some more food in this way. And there's another hill tile now available to us. We do have just enough production and a small surplus of food, but it's pretty tight. And I still feel like we're slightly behind the 8-ball in terms of growing the economy. There's the swamp that's gone. So we'll go ahead and get some more grain going there. And one more turn up here. Hold off a little bit more on our cults, I think. Well, so there's two in Seth. Okay. Let's go ahead with Horus again, then. Cleared the glade. That's enough food for another worker. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to put one here. I want one to continue scouting, but I do think at this point I really need to get another workshop up and start boosting our production some too. Let's clear out this thicket and then we'll be able to put something up there. Ascended outsider in the baboon tribe. Hoppy granting us more river affluence. But relations there still are terrible anyway, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. Ancestral duties advancing. Okay. We are ready for our next advance, but the Way of Horus. Permanent caravan route, named the Way of Horus, now established between the Nile Delta and the lands of Canaan. Egyptians can penetrate the Near East, bringing back Canaanite woods, metals, and luxury items, and we can profit greatly as being a transit point. So, our city now gains 0.5 luxuries by being on a convenient trade route. Very nice. And now it's time to do a significant upgrade. We're going to get Chiefdoms. The Proto-Dynasty comes to power. So originally we had First Chiefs, and that's what we've been running up until now. We've grown in power, started to acquire early state-like features. Other tribes do not lag behind. They've started to form their own chiefdoms. The race to unify Egypt has begun, so we're moving from local structures to more regional, larger groups of clans banding together. We do get a bit of culture for doing that. Chiefdoms rose as a result of wars of conquest, early proto-states consisting of many clans. Rulers began to collect tribute and resolve conflicts in the name of the gods, and increasingly complex relations. Intermediate state in the evolution of clans and tribes into states, and we get +5 culture, but more importantly, this. We can annex and assimilate. So, now we are going to bring conflict to the neighboring tribes. We're going to start with the baboons, who are the weakest. And we have the different options now. They are giving us tribute, but this will fully give us control over their lands, their people, all of that. So we definitely want that to happen. And then let's look at the new effects of the Proto-Dynasty. Consisted of several Horus clans ruling a number of regions concurrently. Great endeavor of Egyptian unification began, and it gives us a few known rulers. Minus 20% culture now, plus we don't get the 10% food boost that we got previously. That's why I waited until I caught up on the rest of the advances to do this, because I didn't want to lose the culture sooner. And then we do get plus 20% to our military and our luxuries. But still, I don't like the bonuses of the Proto-Dynasty as much as I like the previous ones. Not that there's much choice in the matter. Onward, we must go. So, since we're using the one population to get this battle started, we don't really have a whole lot of free labor at the moment. And again, our food production is not, it's actually, our surplus has gone down a little bit with the change to the new ruling type. So we do need to get this additional production set up here, but we're kind of limited in our options at the moment. And a new trial is coming, our second trial, and you can see required resources: food, production, military, and favor. And I'm going to lean into the favor and the military side for this particular trial. Okay. So we have a merchant robbing event. Their goods were intended for Upper Egypt, and the horses of Upper Egypt will seek revenge. And they just pretty much put this in there, I think, to seed, you know, the fact of the coming conflicts. But we will definitely enjoy having that production, since we are fairly tight on it ourselves. And still have 2 shields against Seth. We're going to keep retaining our favor for that trial that's coming. And now we have the arrival of Scorpion. One of the Upper Egyptian chiefdoms now has a new ruler, the Horus Scorpion. His talents are impressive, and the gods have reserved a great destiny for him. Upper Egypt has entered the final stage of unification. Then we have the historical meaning. Scorpion is one of the most ancient and mysterious rulers of ancient Egypt. They still debate whether such a ruler even existed. One man or several? Or was Scorpion instead a god, a settlement, or even a whole region? In any case, a number of important events of pre-dynastic Egypt are connected to the Scorpion hieroglyph. Now, it's important to notice, look at the headpiece that he's wearing. That's the white crown symbolizing rule of Upper Egypt. I think this is a good point to sort of take a look at, you know, how do we know things about history this far back? Do we know as much as we think we know? They're being very nebulous here with it, and for good reason. A lot of the most important artifacts that we've recovered regarding ancient Egypt come from the city referred to by the game as Hierakonpolis, actually known as Nekhen in ancient Egyptian. As one example, this may be the oldest tomb mural that's been discovered, mid to late 4th millennium BCE. And it is thought that a lot of the artifacts that have been found at Nekhen were not actually originally from there, but were moved from other locations. In terms of the Scorpion figure, this is the most significant artifact that has been discovered, the Scorpion Mace head. And if you look closely, you can see he does have the white crown of Egypt above his head, as we noticed in the other picture. Along with the usual debates about who Scorpion was, when they lived, etc., is a specific person, generic representation, all of that, there's also been a lot of debate and discussion around what the other symbols on the mace head indicate about Egyptian culture at the time, and how developed it was, and what symbols were common or not as common. A number of tags such as these, which date to about 3300 BCE, have also been discovered. Some are made of bone, some are made of ivory, etc. And additional theories have sprung up from these as to whether, this is a representation of the very earliest Egyptian form of writing, which would predate cuneiform by a couple hundred years, and some emphatic statements have been made along that regard. There's a heron in the background of some of the tags that also have scorpion imagery. It's been derived from that perhaps scorpion originated from the area of Buto. And I think all of these kinds of things tend to be just an example of trying to squeeze too much water out of a stone. The phrase, I don't know, I don't think is uttered enough, particularly when you're trying to look back further in history than people really know what's happened before. When dealing with the era of prehistory, there's too many questions. We don't even know for sure, for example, when the White Crown of Upper Egypt actually became to symbolize actual rule over that period of territory. That may have been the case by the time the Scorpion Mace Head was created. It may not have. This might have been when that started, or before, or afterwards. So I think the figure of the Scorpion King should be regarded as basically mytho-historical. It's just clouded and uncertain, and there simply isn't enough information to know, and it probably should be left there. So the Blessing of Horus has ended. Of course, we want to keep banking our favor, so I'm not going to push things any further there. And then our thicket's been cut. Should be able to put up a workshop here. Yeah, we'll have enough production to get that going. A couple technologies are available, but I don't want to go there just yet. I want to go up to our next culture one there with first laws. And now it's time to annex the baboon people. So the only effect is them defending their homeland. Standard battle, we're not going to give them the opportunity for an ambush. But it looks like they didn't get one. And yeah, pretty boring, straightforward battle there. They have been conquered and now become Egyptians. Release is the only option there. Okay. So, we've built some workshops, and we're no longer getting the extra from the river. And then when you conquer an area, this will usually happen. Some areas are ruined. And you have a reduced production in the area until we clear that out. Actually, no production in this particular case. There can be varying levels. So now all of a sudden we have some more people, and we're also going to do some more research. So we are going to grab first laws. Some more culture in. Large society calls for creation of a codex of rules capable of regulating its daily life. It's just sort of one follows the other. Issued as the will of the forefather gods, mostly aimed at resolving civil conflicts, extending a rule's power, and supporting the helpless. +6 culture, and we do get also an additional boost to our housing capacity. So, we've got some area here that we can use. Let's take advantage of that. Let's grab this food as well. Those both look like useful options to us. And I think we have enough here, so let's go ahead. The thing is, I'm going to want to get rid of some of the housing, so instead of repairing this area, I'm just going to demolish it. Then we can put up another workshop there. That's going to be my plan in that regard. And it's once these two population units are done, they can move on to other things. Although I actually want to pull you out and not do that just yet, because what I actually should be doing here is moving on to another attack. You can't attack more than one. Let me show what it does if you do that. This is a little bit easier to handle. Let's say we were to grab these people over here and wanted to attack twice at once. So if we... And none of these have high enough relations that it really benefits us to do anything other than annex them. And I can't do it here because you can see at the bottom our troops are already busy. So you'll just head back down there. Unification of Upper Egypt. The mighty Horus Scorpions subjugated Ombos and united all of Upper Egypt, and now wants to attack Lower Egypt. Such a lengthy campaign will be difficult, and has requested our assistance. Thus we have the new trial, the subjugation of Egypt. Okay, so King Scorpion invaded the Nile Delta to bring peace. Will not succeed without our assistance. And there are two main strategies. Material aid or spiritual aid, which is helping to win the entire campaign at once, but is riskier. I actually like to do some of both. Lengthy wars in Upper Egypt were won by a coalition of chiefdoms, led by Hyrcanpolis, aka Nekhen, and Abydos, or Thinis. During that period, the idea had arisen that peace and order in Egypt were only possible under the power of a single ruler, leading to the creation of the state. Pluses and minuses to that, but yes, indeed. Okay, so we can supply them by sending them a bunch of production. We don't have a bunch of production. Give them a plus 8% chance to subjugate a particular region. They need to get 3 of them. Or we can send them troops, which I find to be a more useful way of going about it, particularly since we have a good amount right now. And then this will give us a chance for all regions to surrender, not just one. So, in order to get this done in time, you do have to provide some aid. And I like to boost, up to about halfway there. And then I'm also going to pray as much as I can. And there we go. That's up to 1/3 chance that they will all surrender. And I'm spending quite a bit on this. But just like the other trial, the faster you do it, the better your reward. And I want to get this done quickly. Now we have nature expanding. There are thickets there, and we found some acacia trees here. So that's interesting. Okay. So from here, I think we're still waiting on that group, and we're waiting on our battle. So that's about all that we have that we can do at the moment. Wow. Okay, we got pretty lucky there. Usually would take a couple more turns. We're at turn 67. You have to get there by turn 70, or before turn 70 rather, so by 69. To get the gold victory, we get plus 60 in terms of our luxuries. Scorpion has united Egypt, securing trade routes to distant lands from Canaan to Nubia. Scorpion has showered us with gifts and freed us from all tribute obligations. The Nakata culture eventually permeated all corners of Lower Egypt, then was perhaps for the first time united culturally and economically under the rule of one king, but not for long. Lengthy process of final unification would be finished only by the late rulers of the Second Dynasty. And I like the way that they're presenting this as a gradual process. The evolution of the state, the unification. That same could be said about what we're talking about with the development of writing. None of these things are like flipping on a switch. Okay. Onward we go. And with the creation of the state, Scorpion and his entourage pray to the gods to give them wisdom. First experiments in administration have begun. And a whole bunch of questions here to answer, but we get +1 culture every turn. So that's a nice little boost as well to getting this far. Okay, and we have man-eater lions, and we can't do anything about them either because this area is occupied. So we just have to wait for this battle to come. And then they migrated. Then Scorpion dies shortly thereafter. Many of the chiefdoms and tribes subdued by him now refuse to pay tribute. Declare independence, their rulers proclaim themselves true Horuses, and wars among them flare up anew. So I think the losing 0.5 favorite. I think the important point here is not specifically Scorpion, but the idea that there are unification attempts and things fall apart, and the people will try again later, and it is in fact a process. And the man-eater lions are apparently gone off the map, or to a place that we have not yet explored at the very least. Wild cereals have been harvested. So we could clear out this area if we wanted to. Let's see, what's my next? Well, I can add another. Let's scout this over here. That's only one. So that seems to be a good idea. And then what do I want to do with you? I don't think we want to knock out the housing just yet. So, should I work on some more farmland, perhaps? Because we can't... You know what, I think I want to wait and see what's going to happen there. But let's go ahead and knock out these thickets. I want to see what happens when we capture this area, but we're going to want to knock these out. It gives me a little bit more production, gives me room eventually. So that's pretty straightforward. And now I do think I want to back up a little bit. And metalworking is a key advance here. You can see the growth to our production, both every turn and then from the workshops and getting more military. Let's definitely do that. A new class of craftsman. Metalsmiths raised the art of copper working to a new level, so taking another step up in that regard. Despite having to use rocks for hammers, able to create sophisticated items, weapons, and tools, but stone did remain the most widespread material for basic commodities. So we're not at the point where metal objects are in common use, but they're becoming more and more involved, more durable, more different types of things can be created with the advance of the skill. And let's go ahead and get that conquering done. I think that's all we have for now. Okay, so they have significant resistance. We're still expected to win, but let's be cautious. Yep, an ambush, doggone it. There we go, flanked them, but we took some casualties here. Could have done without that. Yeah, we lost, not as many as they did, we lost quite a bit. It's going to take us a while to recover. All the more reason to keep scaling up our military. And once again, we damage more areas. Departing ancestors. And what do we explore up here? Oh, this will be nice. Getting those antelopes would be good. So, we are gradually progressing. We're definitely going to do this next. For the next episode, we'll want to conquer the rabbit people. Our production is gradually increasing. We definitely are going to want more workshops. And we need to repair probably one of these housing, maybe convert one of them into a workshop. I might want to do that. Also, we're going to need to continue expanding our food supply. So, much left to be done as we move forward. But we have survived with flying fortunate colors, the subjugation of Egypt. More trials lie ahead. We'll get into that next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Egypt Old Kingdom will return.